What's going on, guys? It's your boy SQ420. Welcome y'all back. Another episode of Showtime with the Cube. As always, I've got the powerful one with me, Corey Hughes, famous author. Corey,
Famous
you
author.
doing?
I wish.
Yeah. Are you doing good this afternoon?
I'm doing good, and I apologize to the audience that we should have had the show out like a week ago. But when the day we were supposed to do it, I screwed up and I ate some mushrooms and I was in another universe, and so I couldn't do the show. And I apologize.
I was gonna let that go. I was gonna let it go, but seeing how you explain to the audience what we got going on here, that's fair enough. Well, we got an action-packed show. Loki, final 2 episodes, the finale, and then we'll be talking a little bit about the shit show that is currently the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As always, if you listen to us on YouTube or watch us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, listen to us on podcast platforms, hit the follow button there. We appreciate everybody checking us out so far. So, last 2 episodes of Loki, we come full circle, quote unquote, on the arc of Loki per se. But I've been having arguments with people about his particular arc and how it's actually 2 separate arcs of Loki, because it's technically 2 separate Lokis.
I don't think that's supposed to be. You're not supposed to include that as a separate arc. It's supposed to be looked at as you're supposed to. It's supposed to be all incorporated as one. You're not supposed to go there with. That's not the intention. I don't believe. But okay. I want to say something I thought was kind of funny. That there was so much like how do I explain it? There was within the show, there was an analogy of the state of the Marvel Universe. And I realized that all the various timelines going off the rails, busting the flume, was exactly what the Marvel Universe is doing. It was picturesque, you know?
Spot on. I think that's what they were trying to say. They were just like, dude, we are in trouble. Okay, that's what they said. We are in massive trouble right now. I'm just letting people know. So episode 5, we'll kick off with episode 5. This particular episode is where Loki finally figures out how to control his time slipping. Okay, how to control his time slipping. Now, we see in this episode that Loki is actually the one who, what do you call it? He's the one who pruned himself from the first episode when he got yanked out of the timeline by Mobius.
Okay, let me just preface this for the audience. Okay,
yeah,
none of this makes a goddamn bit of sense, so don't try to figure it out. Okay, 0 sense. None of it is reality. It doesn't matter. You're just supposed to roll with it. Okay, so I'm rolling with
it. Yeah, so I had some theories. I thought it was Renslayer. I thought it was Renslayer. I was like, Renslayer must have came up behind him and pruned him. No, it was actually Loki who pruned himself in that timeline because for some reason he knew he needed to prune himself.
That confused the heck out of me because I still don't understand what that is. I'm like, and I feel if I asked you to explain it, it would take the whole episode. So I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, it might. Well, we see things starting to turn to spaghetti string as Victor Timely turned to spaghetti string when he walked out. Of course, the explosion happened, and we think at that point in time that all is lost. But Loki is actually, he starts time slipping once again, and my thought process is that once he got removed from the timeline per se, where he doesn't exist, that allows him the power to actually manipulate and slip throughout time to different points in time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the premise, the quote unquote premise.
So I'm gonna stop right here for a second and let's talk philosophy. So if you have a time machine and you can go bloop, 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 and go into the time machine, in theory, are you traveling in the same actual timeline, or does your time travel actually create a branched universe that you travel to that you can have interaction with? Because let's just say you went back in time in a fixed timeline. The theory is that you could not change time, that you could only go back and participate in what has already happened. And no matter what you do, it was already at what had happened the first time anyway.
Inevitability.
Inevitability. Correct. Therefore, if you can go into a timeline and change things, are you actually changing things, or are you actually just creating a branched timeline?
So it would be quote unquote like the Flash movie, because he was trying to go back in time and save Supergirl and all that, but he never could.
Oh, you're going to give me the spaghetti speech.
Yeah, because of
I don't
was
like.
inevitable
Okay,
to happen.
let's stop right there, and we're going to have to
Okay.
bypass into this spaghetti speech that we saw in the Flash, because the spaghetti timeline stuff is garbage. That was junk. That was total BS. Worst interpretation of time travel stuff ever in the history of mankind, that was only created to serve their own self-serving interests in that one garbage movie. Okay? That should never be referenced ever again. I apologize for bringing it up.
Well, I had to reference it because I mean we were talking about inevitability, so that would be the nearest thing as far as us moving towards that. So it was like, I mean, what do you think?
They were basically saying
Maybe.
when you travel in time, you turn your whole timeline into junk. Anything's possible. Like if you travel in your own timeline can have some junk in it. No. No. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
You can't get multiversal difference type changes just because you traveled in time. No, sorry. That's exactly what they were saying.
Okay. All right. So never mind the Flash. Okay.
Yeah. Screw the Flash.
We'll skip over the Flash, which unfortunately for DC was a massive flop. But we'll move back into episode 5, and so he moves. Loki's actually able to move throughout multiple timelines and find some of his companions, or Boris, in their alternate branch timeline. Mobius, was it B-15, and all that good jazz. And he manages to get them together. And at that point in time, they start to become spaghetti string as well. And we really don't know why this is happening at that moment, at that present moment.
I assume
I
just
maybe,
instability in the timelines.
Yeah, potentially, but we really don't have any inclination. We just know that stuff's falling apart, except for Loki. He's the only one that's not turning spaghetti string. So throughout all of this, and so he actually at that point in time actually figures out how to pause time, rewind it back, and I don't know how he came about this, but he figures out how to go right back to the moment right before the TVA exploded. Okay, and so it's not explained at all. You just know what happens. Okay, that's just pretty much it. You just have to suspend belief and just know that it happens.
So let me comment on this, and this kind of screwed me up in this season because I almost totally forgot. We most of the time see Loki when he's not using any magic. He's just a freaking dude who works for the TVA, right? Like, because there's like a magic block or something. Like, so I completely, totally, almost forgot that he even had magic whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, a couple episodes ago, all of a sudden he can use magic again, and he's like, proof, right? Like, he went from being like Joe Schmo nobody to having godlike powers again. And I think that was they implemented that change poorly.
Well, they said it was because they knocked down the defense system, the Miss Menace defense system, which blocked magic.
Okay. That whoever wrote that part should be fired from life.
Is that not good?
No, it's not good. They could have done better. I don't know what it is because I ain't I ain't a writer. So I am a writer, but not that kind of writer. All right, so seriously, whoever wrote that is bad story arc. It's no good, and it was just an excuse for him to not have any magic.
Yeah, this is true because if he had magic, then it probably would have been easy. Maybe.
It's like when you're in a video game and they give you a debuff because they have to debuff you because they know you could normally just whoop this boss's ass in like 2 seconds, so you get the debuff on you that you got to manage. No, screw that. This is exactly what happened here. I don't like it.
Okay, so yes, I don't like my characters debuffed in film or TV shows. Okay, that's fair enough. So he tries to go back and he tries to save the timeline multiple different ways. Okay, multiple different ways, and he continues to fail. He continues to fail, and he actually, and it says it in the episode, he actually figures out everything he needs to know about the TVA handbook, about being a physicist and all that through centuries of going back and talking to Ouroboros. So he's trying to speed up this process and trying to figure out why they can't actually get the temporal loom to keep from exploding. Okay, so that's the whole premise here. They're trying to keep the temporal loom from exploding so it doesn't destroy the TVA. That's pretty much what we've got going on here. And so, in theory, in time, at where he's at, it's like the same 10, 15, 20 minutes, but he's been at this for hundreds of years, per se. Okay, and he doesn't age at all during this. No aging process at all, which
because it's just a repeat at the same time, right? It's just it's a constant repeat. So like,
yeah, because if I'm correct, like when he time slips back into that body. So like he can't technically age because every time he time slips, like he's talking, and then all of a sudden you'll see like an animation, and like his essence has slipped back into that body during that time. Corey,
mm-hmm.
You keeping up?
I'm just rolling with it.
Is the audience keeping up? Are we grasping any of this? I know some of this is a little tough, but I think that's what we got going on.
In this show, when things come to me and I'm like start to get confused, I just go, I'm good, and I just roll with it, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, yes.
What did he say about the quantum entangler? What? Oh, okay, never mind. All right, just go with it. Okay.
Yeah, so episode 5 is pretty much just
like I'll give you that moment when he gets stabbed by himself and disintegrated by himself. Epitome of confused at that moment.
Yeah, he gets pruned by himself.
I was like, but then 2 seconds later, I'm like, just roll with it. Okay.
Yeah, he gets, and I'm accumulating 5 and 6 together so we can kind of speed through this and talk about the state of the MCU. But pretty much what we have happened from there, of course, when he's talking to Sylvie and everybody he's gotten together, B-15 Mobius or Boris, the timeline starts to disintegrate right there before them. They start to turn to spaghetti string, float away. And of course, these people that he's got with him, they don't have any recollection of the TVA because technically they're in their own branch timeline. Okay. So that's the premise there. Even though Ouroboros is still like super smart in that timeline, so I'm guessing he's just super smart in every single timeline. That's what I'm assuming at that point in time. So as we jump over into episode 6, and he starts to figure out really how to use his time slipping to go back and try to change things. He actually goes back to the point in time where him and Sylvie were at He Who Remains. Okay, at He Who Remains. And obviously he had done that multiple times because He Who Remains pauses Sylvie, and I didn't know he could just swipe her away, like off the map. You saw that, right?
That was
like he stopped her and then swiped her away off the map.
Yeah, I just roll with it, man. Just roll with it.
Yes, I was like, okay, all right. So like,
He's He Who Remains. He can do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah, infinite power. Okay, infinite power, infinite knowledge. So Loki and He Who Remains. Well, you actually see Loki try to stop Sylvie multiple times. And here's the one thing that that kind of irks me a little bit is that Sylvie always kicks Loki's ass. I'm just like, look, it ain't no point in time that you can beat her ass. I mean, that's what it's like. It's like there's at no point in time can Loki beat Sylvie's ass. She whoops his ass every single time and kills He Who Remains until he finally stops it. And it's just like, hold on a second, how long you been at this? You know, and they go about to say, hey, this ain't the first time we've had this conversation, things of that nature. And he actually makes some references to Victor Timely. That seems like a an actual side project, or not so much that he needed him, but it was like a failsafe per se. Victor Timely was. I actually don't really know what Victor Timely is.
Victor Timely was
Yeah,
just
I don't
another.
know the purpose of him. Now that I think, now that I go back and look at
the
it,
only reason they needed him was so he could put his face into the thing to open up the door.
yeah, that's about it.
That's
yeah,
it.
That's about
that
it.
was really the only reason. All the other stuff that they talked about him with all this was all fluff. It was all fluff because they just needed him to stick his face in the thing.
Yeah, that is true. I'm just like, because you get back
and
to
then you realize that was a lot of fluff. That's a good 15 to 20 minutes of fluff, right?
Yeah, because I mean,
well, they had to build it up so it was shocking when he got turned into spaghetti. Because I was like shocked when he got turned into spaghetti. Because I actually like that character, the stuttering guy.
Yeah, well, it had me thinking that that Timely was actually He Who Remains.
It is.
So that's
it is one of his incarnations. One of his incarnations.
Yeah, but it made you think that maybe that was the actual He Who Remains.
Like after he gets killed, he was the one reincarnated back then.
Yeah,
I never really took it like that. I took it he was the first of many incarnations to come.
Okay. And as we said earlier, once he got the TVA handbook, Victor Timely was no longer on the sacred timeline; he was on a branch timeline. So
right.
So
then, did we already talk about how it seemed as though it wasn't even his plan, that it was Miss Minutes' plan the whole time? Remember, because how she plans the book, and then once she gets him up in there in the ship, and she's like, she gives him the whole speech about I could have a body and all that stuff, right? Like, so it seemed like she was the evil mastermind behind it, behind kicking off the series of events.
Yeah, like she was like an architect of that.
Right.
Per se. So we got that aspect. He Who Remains talks to Loki about that. He talks about reincarnation. He says, "Hey, I mean, did you think I was just gonna let Sylvie kill me and then that be it?" You know what I'm saying? So he kind of just lets you know, like, hey, even when you thought I won't pull in the strings, I was pulling the strings the whole time. Per se, I think that's what they call that. Like, I think that's the whole thing they were going for, like on Ahsoka with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like, oh, I did this and you thought you went up me, but this is my plan the whole time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it kind of gave you that premise, like the mastermind villain per se, that he's always got one step ahead of you.
Execution in Ahsoka was trash.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. We'll say that. It wasn't the best. Okay. And so we have this back and forth, and Loki hits an epiphany. Okay. He hits an epiphany at that point in time. And I don't know how he came about to this epiphany. But the epiphany was him walking out onto the bridge and destroying the temporal loom, because He Who Remains lets him know. He's like, look, the reason that the whole reason for the temporal loom, because they're trying to actually get it to amplify so it's able to accommodate all the branches. But seeing how the branches are infinite, it'll never be able to accommodate the branches. So the actual purpose of the temporal loom the whole time was if shit got awry, then what it would do would actually prune or destroy the branch timelines and keep the sacred timeline.
Right.
Which makes you wonder why they were going through and pruning any timelines. Pruning anybody.
No, man. No. You got to stop and not ask that question. That's one of the questions you can't ask. You just got to roll with it.
But he said that.
You don't want to do any kind of. Did you not do any kind of analysis of this show at all when it comes to time travel and any of that stuff? Because you will be greatly disappointed. You do not want to see how the sausage is made. If you want to like this show, you just have to roll with everything. I'm trying real hard to like a Marvel product, so I'm not asking any questions that are tough.
Yeah. Okay. So no tough question. No question. So that's what we actually find out. We find out that the temporal loom, the whole purpose of it, is to, if shit gets out of hand, if TVA can't handle it, it will destroy the TVA, okay? Which He Who Remains says he can rebuild. All right, that's just because it's destroyed don't mean nothing to me. it will prune, it will destroy all the other timelines and just maintain the sacred timeline. Okay.
Yes.
That's the whole premise. So Loki's like, okay, I can destroy the temporal loom, all right, which will release the actual timelines and keep it from destroying the TVA. But then once he does that, the timelines start to decay afterwards. Anyway, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure why that's happening. But then, which this people are hailing this as like a perfect ending. But Loki is actually able to imbue his magic into the timelines, bring them all together, and sit upon the throne where he who remained was at the Citadel at the end of time. So I guess Loki's just sitting there imbuing his magic into all the timelines to keep them alive.
Yes. So this appears to be the completion of the redemption arc.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is okay. So this is where
it had not been completed. Just because he seemed like he was a good guy in their show does not mean the redemption arc had been completed. It had not, because he had not embraced his godlike powers or used his godlike powers in order to do anything of benefit to anybody. Thus, when he, without a suit on, pops the doors and goes out into where he should be turned into spaghetti, you know, you can see that he's wearing, it's the first time that he brings back his like Loki suit, and then the Loki horns come back, right? And so I had almost forgotten about that character. It had been so long since we saw that character that I was like, whoa, we got God Loki back, right? And it felt like such a different character from the Loki that we had been experiencing, right? The redeemed Loki who we thought we had known this whole time is now taking that final step. And ultimately, it appears as though what he is doing is almost a sacrifice of sorts, because he is wearing the uniform, he gets up there, the loom breaks, he's grabbing all the little things, and he's putting his own green energy into them one at a time. They're catching, they're not catching. There's a couple minutes scene. He's swimming around there. He's grabbing he's grabbing everything. And
well, he says he's meant for glorious purpose. So this is the glorious purpose. And this is kind of a callback to the, if I'm correct, to the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. I believe he says that in that movie as well. When he's the bad guy.
Right.
But what we got to remember is that, okay, so here's my only issue with his arcs, okay? So Loki technically has two different arcs. He has the arc where he goes through the whole deal as far as being bad guy Loki, getting caught by the Avengers, redemption, coming back, watching his father die at the hands of Hela, him teaming up with Thor in the end, watching all of Asgard get destroyed, and then finally getting his neck broke by Thanos trying to save Thor. This Loki, technically, now I think if I'm correct, in the first season, he sees this stuff, per se, but he never actually experienced any of it. So the Loki that we get right now is bad Loki from the first Avengers.
Correct.
So it's almost like two separate arcs of Loki.
I think that's a little overthinking it. I think the arc we're supposed to see is that he was bad Loki and now he's good Loki. And the completion of the arc is he
found his purpose.
He found his purpose.
This is God. Okay.
And let's describe it for a second. He takes the mesh of the timelines that was falling apart, breaking the loom apart, going crazy, assumably to utter destruction, right? That's what's going to happen. All the timelines are just going to like thrash around and destroy each other, right? So, and he takes them and he shoots his green energy into them and he binds them into this glorious tree.
Yeah.
It's like a tree of life. That's what I got the vibe. It was the tree of life. And it was there. And like he is now responsible. He took over the roles of the Time Lords or whatever the hell they were called. And he is now the person who must sacrifice himself in order to make sure the timelines are kept together in harmony.
Yeah, or just make sure they don't
However,
die. Because
now the question then becomes, can he break from this and make appearances elsewhere? Can he come in and save the day, or is the maintenance of the timeline so important that he has to be a part of it forever and never leave? Because if they wanted to, they could write him out of whatever they want at this point.
Yeah, so kind of like Atlas, isn't that right? Atlas holds up the Earth, right? Is that Greek mythology?
Oh, I thought we were on the back of a bunch of turtles.
Oh, we could be too. What mythology is that?
That's the like Buddhist or something like that,
Oh, okay.
or Christian,
Okay.
Hindu, or Krishna, or whatever the
Oh,
fuck.
okay.
One of them
Okay.
dumb shits.
So their only purpose is just to be there and hold the weight up of
Right.
the world,
just like Atlas holds up the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's Loki's. That's his godlike purpose now. So, he says it when he walks out there, meant for glorious purpose, and he
says, I know what type of God I want to be.
Yeah. Well, what type of God I need to be. And so in the first Avengers, he talks about sitting upon the throne and all this, and he actually gets to sit upon the throne.
Yes.
In this, so I guess
of his own kingdom. It seemed like the timeline was now his own kingdom.
Yeah, so I guess you could say that this is, quote unquote, a completion of his arc per se, even though I felt like it's two separate arcs. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
If you see it as two separate arcs, which I don't think they're ever going to take advantage of or capitalize on, do you think that leaves the possibility open for another Loki doing something else to come into the storyline at some point?
Seeing how we have branched timelines, we're assuming that there's another Loki out there.
Well, here we have to consider now. Let's just take a second, and ultimately that's how the series wraps up. The first season wraps up. I thought it was good. 6 episodes, I think. I still think, like, I was disappointed when seasons went down to 8 episodes. Right, like back in the day, I just watched the season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It had 29 episodes in a season, and they were an hour long. Okay, Jesus Christ, we went from that to 8 episodes down to 6. Okay, at what point is it just a mini series? I used to watch miniseries that were 8 episodes long. You know what I mean? So
you get to flesh out a lot of stuff when you got 29 episodes.
Oh yes,
there's a lot of character.
Oh goddamn, yes, that's like 6 seasons of this modern stuff, right? So, but ultimately, this story seems to have come to somewhat of a completion. There was really no purpose in it ever being made unless they needed to position him for something else. However, that brings us to what's going on in the Marvel Universe. And
let me finish this up before we do that. Okay, we'll finish this up because we go into a quote unquote post Loki becoming people say the god of stories or whatever. But we have references to Kang because the TVA seems to become, as opposed to a pruning timeline, it just seems his purpose now is just to find and eliminate Kangs. That's the premise of it now. And then
is it?
They actually, they actually say it at the end. They were like, "Oh yeah, we found a
that's
Kang
right. That's right.
Yeah, there was one that popped up on Earth 616, but it looks like they took care of it. They're talking about the Kang from the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Oh, I didn't make that connection. I get you though.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one they're talking about there. So that seems to be the purpose of the TVA now, is to find the threats of Kangs that pop up, the variants, and try to eliminate. That's the whole premise of it. So that's what we see there. It doesn't give us any post credit scene or anything to look forward to past that. It just gives you that innuendo that. So this right here, this particular season of Loki, if we put this in order, actually happens before Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Before. Yeah, before. And I would actually assume that it would be happening. All this would still be before WandaVision and stuff too. WandaVision, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I'm assuming it would be before that as well.
Well, They never really emphasize the time frame, so I'm assuming it's kind of irrelevant to everything else going on. But here's the thing. The Marvel Universe is a dumpster fire within a dumpster fire within a nuclear dumpster fire within a fucking... I'm out of words to describe dumpster fires. Okay? Like, it's horrible. It's total crap. It sucks. It's dog shit. Okay? I'd rather watch like fucking 60s Pulp Fiction movies than this crap. Okay? So, I don't know what they're going to do with anything or how this ties into anything, because ultimately what they need to do is cancel everything they have in the goddamn works and hire new writers and start over. Because like we're done. Like we're toast. Is there anything coming on the horizon? We never did Blue Beetle. I don't even know if there's anything. There should be nothing. The plate should be just cleared off.
Well, Blue Beetle's DC, so
I don't give a fuck. It's all garbage at this point.
Which Blue Beetle's out on Max, so we can actually watch it now.
Okay,
it's out on Max.
All right, well, let's watch it for next week to see how garbage it is.
Yeah, but so now we're jumping to talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what the future is, and unfortunately, it's murky at best. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the next year. All right, here is the Marvel projects that are coming out in the projects with Marvel characters that's coming out in the next year, and I want you to when I tell you these particular films, I want you to tell me what's wrong with what I'm telling you. Okay, so the next project that is...
So you name a film, and then I say it's fucking dog shit.
No. I'm gonna tell. I think it's if I'm correct, I think it's either 2 or 3 films. If I'm correct, I know. Let's see, when's that? I think it's a TV show, or it might be a movie. Hold on, let me make sure of this. I know the Madam Web is coming out.
Okay, I don't understand the plot there. Like, you don't need a Spider-Man spinoff of some bitch we never heard of before. Stupid.
Okay, yeah, so Madam Web's coming out February 14th, 2024. Okay, so that's coming out then. All right, and then the next Marvel project past that, let's see.
Does that have like an evil Spider-Man in it? It looked like a bad Spider-Man. Like the guy was a Spider-Man suit on, was a bad guy.
We probably need to do a review on that trailer.
Okay.
At some point in time, let's see here. I'm coming up to it, and they're spread out. So the next one, July 26, 2024, Deadpool 3. And supposedly, which this may not be the case anymore, Captain America Brave New World, I actually don't think that's going to come out. I think they're moving that back. I don't think that's updated. Kraven the Hunter. Okay. And do I have another one? Let's see. We've got a Venom sequel supposedly for November 8th, 2024.
I like him. It's got, what's the guy's name?
Oh, damn. I
Tom
know his
Hardy.
name if you... Yeah, there you go.
I always mix him up with Tom Brady.
Yeah, so, okay. So, besides the Captain America Brave New World, which I am pretty positive is not coming out, I think they moved that back. When I just told you those other Marvel projects, what's the issue with what I just said to you?
That all the storylines are already wrapped up?
No.
No?
The issue is that they're not Marvel properties. They're Sony. Sony or Fox. Madam Web's not Marvel property. Deadpool's technically not Marvel property yet.
Well, doesn't that mean that there's a chance it might be okay?
Oh, yeah, they might be okay, but I'm just saying that, like, as far as Marvel properties, they don't have anything next year.
They're Marvel Studios, you're talking about.
Marvel Studios, yeah.
They ain't got nothing on the agenda. Thank God. We win. Yes. I've been waiting for this moment for how long we've been doing this show? Thank Jesus Christ.
I mean, now we do in January have, I think January, February, we do have the Disney Plus show Echo coming out. Which the good thing about Echo is they're going to release every single episode at once. So you just go ahead and knock that shit out. But it's going to be TVMA, so you're going to have to click a different screen in order to get to it and watch it. Okay, so maybe it'll be an actual good project, seeing how it'll be TVMA potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel actually doesn't have any projects as far as movies. This would be the first time in a while. Like I said, the Captain America: Brave New World. I'm not actually sure that that's actually coming out. I've heard a whole lot of reshoots, rewriting, and all that stuff. So I don't believe that movie is actually coming out next year. I think they pushed that one back. They pushed quite a bit of their movies back, dude. By the time they try to get this thing rolling again, it's like, Bo, I mean, it's gonna be 3-4 years. And I know you've heard the rumors with, it's like, oh well, we might move away from Kang. I'm like, bud, okay, I get it. Maybe you didn't introduce him that well. Maybe your storylines haven't been that great. But Bo, you are knee deep in this shit. I mean, you're in the multiversal saga. I mean, so it's just like, just calm down. You see, people they panic all the time. Anytime something don't go their way, they panic. Calm down, take a breath, fire everybody, get some folks who know how to write, who maybe have read a comic before, and then go back with it. That's all you need to do. If you got to remove Jonathan Majors because he might go to jail because he whooped his white girlfriend allegedly, then so be it. Okay, or you just bring him back. I mean, hell, there's some dude playing in the NBA. He just got done beating his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just like 6 months ago, whooped the dog shit out of her, sent her to the hospital. He right back in the NBA. I don't see why you can't put Jonathan Majors back up there. I mean, everybody else doing it. Oh, I mean, really, nobody cares. But even if you don't, I've had this from the beginning. I'm like, look, if you have to move away from Jonathan Majors, I was like, but you have
He's
got
good.
an out.
I actually like him.
Yeah. Yeah. But if let's say that you don't want to be a part of his domestic abuse or whatever, I was like, Bo, you have got an out. It's the guy who played the High Evolutionary, and then you can say he was a Kang variant. That's all you got to do. For the simple fact is that he had a similar suit. He used some levitation shit and things of that nature, and some of the things some of the technology that you believe Kang would use. I'm like, that'd be a perfect out. That'd be 100% perfect out. You can bring him in as Kang.
See, I think another problem is with Marvel and and I understand why they're doing it, but people once upon a time liked the core characters. Mm-hmm. And we're moving away from core characters. And that, I think, is somewhat problematic.
It is, but I think it's just the fact that they're not doing them well. It's just like, okay, I think 99% of the problem is that the writing is absolutely horrendous. And they're too worried about diversity and about we need to switch out a black woman for this white dude.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff. It's just like, but calm down. Go to the source material because there's plenty of it. Get everything together. Write a good movie. That's all you got to do. The thing is that people have already done the majority of the work for you. That's the whole thing. It's like you're drawing this from the comics. But people have already done the majority of the work for you. So it's like,
yes.
It's like, man, it's like when you fuck this up, people are looking at you like, how do you fuck it up when you've got all this source material? You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the last season of Game of Thrones where my man hadn't written a book yet, so they just went off on the damn whim. And it's like, they're like, holy shit, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? Man hadn't actually wrote the shit yet, so it's like, oh, we're gonna try something out. It's like, whew, maybe we should have waited for him to write that book. You know what I'm saying? so it ended badly.
So let me ask you that. I got a side question. Like, how the hell do you know that this company gives you 5 years to write a book because they're making the first 5 seasons of your book before they even get to your damn new book? You got 5, 6, 7 years to write the damn book, and you can't write the book. What was up with that? Is he just stupid? Retarded? Did he steal it from somebody who died? I mean, what's the deal?
There was some things happening during that time, you know.
You have some medical problems?
Yeah, he just couldn't get around to it. You know how that can happen.
Oh, yeah. Someone says, hey, Corey, you got 7 years to write a book, and here's $10 million to hold you over till then. I'm going to write the goddamn book.
You're gonna find some way to get it done.
God damn it, that should be done in 2 weeks. Fuck, for that amount of money that guy made.
Hey, look, man. Every once in a while, you get what's it, writer's block.
Bro,
You get
okay,
writer's
let me
block.
explain writer's block in a nutshell, okay? I'm about to write a second book at some point in time. It's the idea of writing another book is grueling. Like, honestly, I never want to do it again. It's that grueling, okay? It's horrible. It sucks, and it takes years, okay? Someone comes to me with $1 million, I'll have that book written in a week.
Man, so that book will be no problem. Okay, that book will be no problem.
And if there's enough zeros on that check, nothing is a problem. Okay, so how the hell did he not get it done?
Right. So, back to Marvel. So, as we said, they were talking about getting rid of potentially getting rid of Kang, just completely, completely getting rid of him. But then they were like replacing Kang with Doctor Doom. I'm like, that is the last thing you need to do, because if you fuck up Doctor Doom, you might as well just go on and just shut the studio down. That's just all there is to it. You fucking up Kang, okay, so yeah, you're not making any money. You fuck up Doctor Doom, Bo, your shit's done, okay? That's just over. If you fuck up Doctor Doom and the X-Men, it's over for you. That's just all there is to it. That's it. That's bankruptcy right there. Which hell, they're moving towards it right now if they ain't damn careful with the projects they've been putting out right here recently. So I was sternly against that. I'm like, look, Bo, you started something. How about you try to finish it? Okay. The last thing you need to do is try to introduce another villain, because y'all don't know what the hell y'all are doing with villains. Okay. I mean, the villain stuff they're doing is so bad, and I think it's because. Okay, so I think the reason Thanos worked so great is the fact that he was actually menacing, and he actually fucked folk up. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, a lot of these villains, they're not actually that menacing. They don't actually take anybody out.
They're
just kind
terrible.
of there.
My favorite villain of late was the villain in... What was the damn Stallone movie?
Oh, Samaritan.
Because he was just a local drug dealer who beat his girlfriend. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Like, best villain we've had in like 5 years.
Man said local drug dealer that beat his girlfriend. My goodness, that's pretty good.
Like, you don't need to get more complicated than that. You don't need to try to find some scroll that's going to open up some doorway, that's going to open up a parallel universe, that's going to suck up the whole world. Like, screw that shit, dude. Just give me some simple stuff. Some guy keeps stealing cars, and the cops can't stop him, so Spider-Man got to swoop in and stop him. Okay? That's what I fucking want. You could give me 2 hours of him trying to fight a guy who steals cars. Okay? Come up with some cool villain name. The Car Man or something. I don't know. Like something, right?
Yeah. I actually think that's what that's why Spider-Man's was so Spider-Man's villains were actually pretty good.
Hell, even give me a crossover between Fast and the Furious and Spider-Man, where they steal the cars and he's got to stop them. I'll take that.
Good God. But yeah, what was it? Spider-Man, if we think about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, so in the first one he had the Vulture, which I thought was a good villain. Second one he had Mysterio, which worked well. And then in the third one, he actually brought back the Hobgoblin. Oh, Green Goblin. I'm sorry, Green Goblin. So it's just like, and he also had like Doc Ock. So they did play off some nostalgia with that. But those are all time good villains. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not so much into the destruction of the whole earth. They're very local. You know what I'm saying? They're very local. It's the same way with Batman. That's why Batman's villains are so good.
Like,
the Joker.
You remember? He was called the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Not your friendly multinational Spider-Man.
What about multiversal Spider-Man?
Multiversal, exactly.
Yeah, multiversal. So, we've got another issue, because I think one of the best trilogies in the MCU so far, and it might be the best trilogy, would be the Captain America trilogy. You had his.
You might be correct. You might be correct, because I actually went back and watched.
All those movies were bangers. All those movies were bangers.
They were all bangers in the beginning. Like, even Iron Man was a banger. Even Iron Man 2 was a banger. Even Iron Man 3 was okay. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
so
but you
we're
got to
talking
think. You
like
got to think. Captain America. Okay, so we had his origin story, but then he had the Winter Soldier and Civil War. Both of those are flat out bangers. Both of those.
Civil War starts to fall off the deep end because that leads us to the greater,
It does,
bigger
but
picture stuff, which kind of goes off the rails when you start getting into the Avengers.
it does. But you have the all out battle in between.
So, what other films
Quote
were there
unquote
prior
friends.
to Avengers? Let's consider Avengers were started to go off the rails. So, what other good movies came out leading up to Avengers besides Iron Man and Captain America?
Hold on. Let's see.
Hulk?
Let's see.
No, that was DC.
MCU.
Oh no, Hulk is
In
MCU.
order.
Duh.
No, Hulk's technically the first MCU movie.
You ain't talking about Norton,
with
right?
yeah, with Norton.
That's considered MCU.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm sorry. Iron Man's the first one. Incredible Hulk was right after it. Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
That is MCU. Yeah. That came out June 13th of
Well,
2008.
Incredible Hulk had Bannon.
Yeah. Is that right?
One of them had Bannon. One of them had Norton.
Okay.
And then they switched to the other dude. But no, those first two movies can't be considered part of the trilogy. They can't be considered part of that Hulk series, can they? They're separate iterations, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're talking about so we had Iron Man, the first one, May 2nd, 2008. Incredible Hulk, June 13th, 2008. So that's the one with Edward Norton. Iron Man 2, May 7th, 2010. We have Thor, May 6th, 2011. Captain America, the First Avenger, July 22nd, 2011. And then we had Marvel's The First Avengers, May 4th, 2012. So that's how it actually, golly, dude, they did the 3 Iron Mans before they, is that right? But they pumped out 3 Iron Mans quick in a 5-year time span. Because Iron Man 3 came out May 3rd, 2013. So yeah. So yeah,
so they managed to completely destroy their franchise in 10 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because you got to think. Okay, so that was phase 1. Was those ones? Okay, so I guess yeah. So that was phase 1. Phase 2 was Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, which the villain was terrible. Captain America: Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man. So that was 2013 to 2015. Okay. And then we've got phase 3, which is 2016 to 2019. Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home. Okay, so in the phase 3, which really took about the movies that were not, which were just like, okay, whatever, was Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. But all the rest of them in there, all those are watchable movies. So we kind of got spoiled. We didn't have anything in 2020, and then Black Widow came out with Phase 4, and that's when we started going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started going way downhill. I mean,
so
we have.
Realistically, we don't really have anything on the Marvel agenda other than this Echo thing, which I really could give a damn about. And like, so we're pretty much done. Like, Marvel's at the end of an era, is what we're hearing, what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they kind of. They're regrouping all together. Look, Blade was supposed to be out this year.
Well, Homeboy was going to quit because everyone was gay.
Boo! They announced that he was going to be Blade 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The man going to be damn near 70-year-old when he get the movie made. He ain't going to be able to do no. They talking about the Midnight Suns and shit. I'm like, y'all need to get you another Negro.
Well, they got the guy. No, they got that other guy who was like played Remy in fucking like in whatever that show was. Remember, you know who I'm talking about in the West Wing, right? You remember? You know the guy playing.
You talking about the guy who's going to play Blade right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcia, Bo, hold
Dude,
on.
he's
Let me
awesome. He
see
ain't gonna be
something here.
70.
Oh, God, Bo, hold on a second. The man 49 right now.
It's
Bo, he ain't
Hollywood,
got
bro. Did you see what they did with motherfucking Harrison Ford in the last Indiana Jones? They made him look like he was 20.
Corey, they ain't got long left, man. The man was 43 when they announced that he was going to be Blade. Man ain't going to be able to move right here shortly. It's going to require him doing some movement. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he is wielding a sword. Martial arts. Come on, Corey. Hell, we've got so much stuff that hadn't received any payoff yet. Okay, so we got the Eternals. We got this fucking hand sticking up out of the damn hand and head sticking up out of Earth that ain't nobody says shit about. I'm talking about this shit sticking all the way up out the Earth. Okay, and then from that same movie, we got the Black Knight. We got the sword that was talking to that guy. We have no idea when we're gonna get the payoff for that. We've got Thanos' brother, which I can't remember his name. But his ass was in the Eternals. But the Eternals left us with like 3 cliffhangers. You know what I'm saying?
Is it still a cliffhanger if you really don't care?
Yes, Corey. Whether you care or not ain't got nothing to do with it. It's a cliffhanger. Now, what's that supposed to mean, man? If you don't care, is it really a cliffhanger?
Right.
It's like if a tree falls in the woods and you're not there, does it make a sound? Yes, it does.
No, I think it does not make a sound. Bruh, nothing becomes a sound until the vibration turns into an electrical impulse in your ear. So if there's nobody there to hear it, the vibration just goes out forever and it never becomes a sound. That's how that works. Yeah.
You see what I'm having to deal with right now, guys. This is what I'm having to deal with. But I mean, you're picking up what I'm putting down, man. They got to hurry up and make this Blade movie. Now they didn't have to fire everybody, okay? Because supposedly it was going to be a feminist movie. It was going to be like 4 lead females. I'm like, the movie was named Blade, right?
So here's the deal. This is what needs to happen with movies across the board. They need to return to the era of, say, I don't know, 1973, when all the men were vulgar and all the women were naked, and they brought in tons of money at the box office. That's where we need to go.
This is true.
I'm telling you, you go back to putting titties in every movie and the fucking theaters will fill up again. It's that simple. The formula has never changed ever in eternity.
Okay. I believe you. I believe you on that. I do believe you. So let's talk about the Marvels a little bit, all right? Which we won't watch until it comes out on Disney Plus, so we can see the travesty that is what it is. But Corey, this movie has the opportunity to not make $100 million domestically.
I thought it already hit 100 mil. Or was that international?
No, it's international, but most of his money's come from overseas. $96.3 million overseas, $161.3 million globally. So I guess that's from everywhere. Its opening weekend was 46.1 million. This past weekend, it dropped down to 10.2 million. Next week, they might have to take it out of theater.
It's going to be on digital by the time I wake up in the morning.
Yeah. They might have to take it out. Corey, this is a collapse. This is an outright collapse. I think they said, quote unquote, they spent was it $250 to $300 million budget?
Here's the thing, like, and this is a problem I think across the board in industry, in entertainment, and you name it, is that we had a time of prosperity behind us. That, like, at a time when a lot of money was being generated, economies were good, and bubbles were created, and all these companies went out and started, like Disney went out and bought up Marvel and Star Wars and all this crap, and like it's like the bubble is bursting. and along with it, the creative juices that went into making these things great in the first place. And so I completely link, at least on the back end, this collapse in movies to a financial collapse that's happening all over the world. Not direct relation, but it may be parallel. You know what I mean? So, because these things came about because of great prosperity, because of lots of money that we're able to buy these companies. But now that money's gone and it's collapsing across the board. And that's kind of the problem when you have these companies merging into one, right? You could have separate entities that are surviving on their own fairly well, and then you merge them, a bubble forms, and then when the economy collapses, those things that were once secure are no longer secure. And that's what's happening to Disney and Marvel and all these entertainment companies, right? So everything's shifting to the independent user, the independent creators. You know what I mean? Like it happened with news. News is done. Like mainstream news is gone. It doesn't exist anymore, barely. MSNBC gets 200,000 viewers on a show, whereas Crowder will get 30 million. You know what I mean? Like the shift has to, I want to see the shift happen in movies. I want to see the independent creator start to make movies, because independent movies, like here's the deal. You can make an independent movie. You ain't getting distributed. Period. The independent creators who are getting distributed always have these ties to money or bigger projects, or so that's what I like to see. I'd like to see like real entertainment come back to independent creators.
Okay, so let's talk about that. And let's see. And I want to just stick strictly domestically. I don't want to go foreign because sometimes
that's just all boring. I
foreign
don't give a damn what the hell they did in Scandinavia.
Yeah, the foreign can. I mean,
Norway puts out a lot of independent films. They're weird as hell.
Yeah, they'll take anything. So I just want to see the worldwide box office this year, and a lot of it is actually still some of these MCU projects wildly. Even though, let me switch this just to domestic right here. Oh, can I do that? Oh no, switch back to worldwide. Okay, all right. So we've got so worldwide at number one. So we're gonna go to top 5 movies this year. It was Barbie at number 1, 1.4 billion. This is worldwide. Super Mario Brothers at 1.3 billion worldwide. Oppenheimer 950 million. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 at 845, and Fast X at 704 million. Okay, so that rounds out your top 5. Now we do have like this. So this lets you know like how badly like DC and some of this stuff is done. So what is it? Meg 2 The Trench has outgained worldwide Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Creed 3, The Flash.
All combined, huh?
The Flash is going to kick the shit out of the Marvels. Shazam Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle's all the way down to 32.
Hang on, what's the biggest box office of the year? Guardians?
For who?
2020?
For Marvel?
For everybody.
No, Barbie.
Barbie.
1.4 billion.
That's wild as hell.
And then right behind it, Super Mario Brothers at 1.3
Whoever thought Margot Robbie would be in a movie that big?
Yeah. I mean, look, man. Taylor Swift, the Eras tour, it's gonna make more money than fucking the Marvels.
You know, it's just a statement on that, the fact that entertainment is garbage. Like people are just tired of bad writing and bad stuff, and like when you get a movie pop up that's actually good, it'll get a lot of money. But that's definitely not anything we're seeing from none of these. Here's the difference: we're not going to a mom and pop restaurant. We're going to McDonald's, and that's what we're getting with movies across the board. We're getting McDonald's instead of a fine handcrafted burger.
I mean, Interstellar. They re-released Interstellar. I don't know where they re-released this at, but hell, it made $25.9 million
on a re-release.
Yeah, foreign. They released it overseas, but hell, I mean, it was able to make $25 million. I mean, so it's just like,
you know what's wild? Like they're bringing The Abyss back to theaters for one day only for some new 4K remaster.
Oh, is that right?
I bet that thing will bring in $50 million.
Probably so. I mean, we got Five Nights at Freddy's that made $271. Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, I don't know if The Marvels, I mean, they might get to it, but it's just like with this precipitous drop off, man. And we talked about this in a few shows where, you know, in the past like 8, 9 movies, they had lost close to $1 billion. I mean, how much longer can you go just taking big L's on this? Because you got to think, okay, so this money with they say that they've sold as far as tickets, box office, we got to think that the company is not getting all that money. They're getting like 40% of it, and the movie theater is getting the other 60% of the revenue as far as ticket sales. And of course, popcorn things of that nature. Um, so you've got to actually hit a fucking home run in order to make your money back and to make a profit on top of that. But they ain't even getting bunt singles. They ain't even getting hit by pitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't even get on base. So if they don't right this ship, and I think that's why we're seeing a whole bunch of people getting fired and things of that nature. If they don't right this ship shortly, they might have to shut the shit down because they losing money on all kind of shit. Star Wars, fucking, they can't make animations no more. Those are shit. Damn Marvel shit, but they losing left and right, and so they got to make a hit right here shortly. Now the Guardians of the Galaxy that did work out for them, which that was actually a good movie. So
yeah, it was all right.
The third one, that was actually a good movie, but other than that, everything else they done, it's been pretty lackluster, to be honest. So do you think with this changing of the guard, them firing people, do you think that with the writers now on strike, I think the actors are still on strike, if I'm correct?
So, what I think has to happen is the ancestors of Stan Lee need to file the biggest damn lawsuit that's ever been in the history of mankind against Disney and their butchering of their ancestors' legacy, which once upon a time was amazing. I'd get them for like all kinds of stuff, man. I'd sue them for like $6 billion. Be like, you just took everything our family member did, everything Stan Lee did, and you just shit on it.
Yeah, you just poo pooed right on it. You poo pooed right on it. So yeah, that's the state of Marvel, guys. It's not looking too swift for them. Projects that were supposed to already be out, we're supposed to be in.
Can we say the
late
turn of Marvel?
already.
Can we say the turn of Marvel happened with the death of Stan Lee?
It did, or with the death of Iron Man and the retiring of Captain America.
Maybe.
Why do you think they're trying to sign them back on?
Yeah.
They're trying to get them to come back and come back and be in a movie.
You can never go home again.
Come back and be in one. Yep. You've been shunned from the house forever. So that's the state of Marvel. The only thing we've got left this year, as far as comic book wise, would be a DC film, which is Aquaman 2, which they are not really promoting at all. I'm not exactly sure why. I've seen a couple commercials with some like trailer previews, but they're not promoting it really at all. And if I'm correct, I still think they're going to move the main actor into Lobo. He's going to become Lobo in the DC universe. I'm just like, that's going to be weird. That's going to be weird as hell. So they don't know what they're doing either. So we've got two comic book companies or comic book studios that have no idea what they're doing with these comic book movies.
So I can tell you right now, I don't know about Marvel, but DC needs to go back to bring in the guys who made Batman and make a very dark Swamp Thing. That's what we need. The goddamn Swamp Thing is amazing. If you do it right, it's awesome. They need to do Swamp Thing. There are so many good DC franchises in the comics that they don't ever touch. Or were good at one time, you know, like Detective Frankenstein. Interesting stuff, you know? Like, Marvel could go down the horror route, like they did with that werewolf stuff. Like, do something different. Like, nobody gives a goddamn hell about Superman or goddamn Spider-Man anymore. These are superheroes from 1,000 years ago. Nobody cares anymore, okay? And you've ruined them for us. So let's just move on, please.
So that's Corey's vote. Corey votes to move on. All right.
Oh,
This is
Loki! I gotta say, Loki overall, I give a 7 cubes out of 10.
yeah, I'm right there with you on that. 7 cubes out of 10. Loki's the best thing that Marvel's did as far as Disney.
And it's
Plus.
not even that great,
and
it's still the best.
yeah, yeah, this is true. This is true. It's very, very confusing themes, and it's meant to be confusing. That's the whole premise of it. But that's okay. It's at least watchable. So, unlike some of their other projects, so we'll see what we have in store. We're going to be coming back to y'all next week. We'll have a few things to cover. Might jump into some Blue Beetle. I'll be getting Peacock this week, so we might try to check out the Continental, see what's going on with that. Obviously, nothing. Because nobody said anything about it.
It's like it came and went.
Like at all. I mean, like, they want to whisper? Did nobody make a bad video about it or nothing? I mean, I couldn't even get slander. I couldn't get slander for it. So it's like, I mean, I guess we'll see what that's about. There's a few other projects. We'll try to do some trailers and stuff for y'all. So, but we'll reconvene next week, Thanksgiving this week. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. Whatever you're eating, turkey, fried turkey, ham. What do you do around your parts, Corey? Turkey, you ham?
You know,
type of guy you
are? I'm a turkey kind of guy. I like the stuffing and the cranberry sauce, but with the jelly cranberry sauce, not the whole cranberries. Old people eat that crap, you know.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Are baked turkey, fried turkey?
No. I never did the fried turkey on Thanksgiving. It's always a baked turkey, but I'd be willing to go crazy here and get me some fried turkey. But seeing as how I'm kind of a bachelor and everyone's got their own thing going on, I'm probably gonna end up getting me some Chinese on fucking Thanksgiving.
Some Chinese. You gonna get Chinese for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, but I don't like to pronounce the S. It's Chinese.
Oh,
Chinese, like
Chinese.
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah,
Chink.
like in Back to the Future.
Yeah, there you go.
You look like you just robbed a dead Chinese.
Oh, that's good. So we hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. We'll be back to y'all next week. We'll have plenty of stuff to cover. So from your boy HQ420, my co-host, the powerful one, Corey Hughes, we'll catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.